Alright, this is a description of what you missed for Tuesday, March 26th in Mrs. Nation's classroom. What we discussed today is we discussed how you're going to be graded for dress rehearsal and how you are going to be graded for the final performance. Dress rehearsal is tomorrow, Wednesday. It's going to be in the staff PD room, which is where you guys met with Clayton Scott. And we are going to essentially do tomorrow by peer evaluation. So you're going to get your grade tomorrow by showing up and doing dress rehearsal, which means you've got props, you've got costumes, and you know part of your script. You don't have to know all of it, but you got to know part of it. And you stand up and you perform it as if it's the real deal. If you do that, your group gets 50 points. If you cannot stand up and do props and costumes and do a straight run through, then you lose 50 points. And then your peers will evaluate you. Okay, now that gets us to Thursday and Friday, and that's where we had the bulk of our conversation today. And so you'll see that on the screen, there is a rubric here. Okay, and you've got all of your requirements, which we talked about 2 weeks ago when we started this, all the things that you've got to have. Okay, and then what we discussed today is we discussed the fact that this column here is showing all the weights, right, and how much or how heavily weighted all of your requirements are. And some things are weighted more heavily than others. So the first thing we looked at is that these top two right here are the most heavily weighted. That would be that you're historically accurate, that you've got correct information, and that you are showing depth of research. I really want to see that you have gotten really beefy details. So you'll see it says goes above and beyond, goes above and beyond, goes above and beyond. So the other thing I stress is that this 5 column, it's got to be like butter. It's got to be perfect. And if that's the case, then you fall in the 5. Other than that, you're going to be down here. Okay? The next thing we looked at were the items that were weighted just the next step down, and that would be creativity, and then that would be your time limit of 5 to 7 minutes. So, what I pointed out to everybody is that this is an all or nothing grade. Either you're in between 5 to 7, or you are not. So what I also told people was, for example, let's say you stand up and you perform on Thursday and you're at 4:59. That's less than 5. You fall here. Let's say you stand up and you're 7:01. That's over 7. You fall here. If you fall in between these two, then you fall here. So that's a very important thing to understand. Okay, the next thing that we talked about were the things that were weighted, the lightest, and that would be these 3 items here. Props and costumes, all members speak and skit, script is memorized. All members speak and skit is another all or nothing. Either everybody has a speaking part or they don't. Okay? And some people have said to me, if we have 4 people in our group, do all 4 people have to have a speaking role in every single scene? All 4 of us in every single scene. The answer is no. What I mean by all members speak and skit is that everybody has at least 1 line of dialogue for the entire performance from start to finish. You say at least 1 line of dialogue, and as long as that happens, then this requirement gets met and you're good. So that's pretty much everything that we discussed today. Then we spent the rest of the class period just practicing, planning, getting ready for tomorrow and tomorrow's dress rehearsal. But reminder, tomorrow's dress rehearsal is 50 points, and then the final performance on Thursday and Friday, that is worth 100.